Maybe that's why everybody's coming in late.
I can do it if need be.
Oh, great. You did it
Oh,
so
good.
well
Thanks
last
Fine. Hold on. Let me just make sure that I have all my files pulled up very quickly. And just let me, do we have a quorum?
Yes, everyone is here.
All right, perfect. So do I need to move to start the meeting?
Yeah, you can move to open the meeting. And then I just wanted to remind everyone that Zach is our new member. So we can say hi. He's a full member.
Oh,
So
hi. Welcome.
Hello,
so,
Zach.
Raquel, when you guys vote and you do the roll call, just make sure to include Zach when you're looking for.
Will do. So I'm going to move to open the meeting.
All right, we need a
So
second.
motion. Second.
Zach?
Here.
Cody?
Here.
Noel? Here. And I heard Dennis already. So we'll move along. I think that the first item today, we have public hearings for both PB 2004 and PB 2005. PB 2004 is for the change of use for retail to specialty grocery cafe at 56 Main Street. The applicant was Frank Cardella. I don't believe we had any questions previously. And then 2005 was for 45 Elting Avenue. The applicant was Alan Ross Architecture, and that was, again, we had no previous questions. So do we have anyone here for public comment?
So just make sure, Raquel, just move to open the public hearing and then just like do them one at a time.
Okay.
And then just ask and make sure specifically no one's here, because I can check the YouTube and see if anyone here has any comment.
So I'm going to move to open the public hearing. First, we will hear comments for PB 2004, which is 56 Main Street, the change of use for retail to specialty grocery cafe. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
We'll go around. Zach? Just
Aye.
Noel? Aye. Cody? I think he's connecting.
Yeah, he said he's going in and out.
All right. So do we have anyone here for the public hearing for PB 2004 for 56 Main Street? Again, this was change of use from retail to specialty grocery / cafe.
Not seeing anything. We can give it a second.
Okay.
While you're waiting, we'll just note for the record that this is a secret type 2 action, and it's exempt. We refer to the Ulster County Planning Board under General Municipal Law, Section 239-M, and therefore the board is able to, after hearing and closing a public hearing, take any action that they desire to take.
And there's no one commenting, so I feel safe closing if that's what you want to do.
All right. So we'll close the public hearing for PB 2004. Do I have to make a motion to do that?
Yes.
You can make it yourself. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to move to close that the public hearing for PB 2004. So later on in the application review, we'll go over the draft resolution. Now I'm going to move to.
Was there a second to close?
I'm sorry.
Second. Thank
Second.
you.
And I'll go through Zach,
Aye.
Cody. And then I think I heard Dennis already. All right. So now I'm in a motion to open the public hearing for PB 2005, which again was 45 Elting Avenue. This was a residential renovation. The applicant is Alan Ross Architecture. Can I get a second?
Second.
Noel? Aye. Zach?
Aye.
Cody?
Aye.
Okay, so do we have anyone here for public comments or public hearing, excuse me, for PB 2005?
Oh, I just have a comment from, this is for Felton, right? Yeah, Neil Batez, the town supervisor, just said, my wife and I are in support of the application for 45 Elting Avenue.
Great.
And I'm not seeing anything else.
All right, so if I don't have any other comments, I'm going to move to close the public hearing for PB 2005. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Noel,
Aye.
Zach,
Aye.
Cody.
Aye.
All right, so we're going to close the public hearing. Do we have anyone here? I'm going to move to open. Do I have to move to open public comments? I'm sorry for all the questions.
Oh, for public comment, I don't think you have to unless Rick says
No.
otherwise. You can just ask, but I haven't seen anything.
All right, so do I have anyone, I guess, with public comments? No.
I think you're
All right.
good.
Okay, so I'm going to move forward. Let's see, we have to the application review. Again, this was for PB 2004. Today was the date of the public hearing. There were no comments, so we're going to go ahead and review. I believe we have a draft resolution. Just bear with
We'll
me.
first close the public hearing.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, she did.
Yeah, I thought-
Okay,
The public hearing for 45 Elting, she did.
okay. Sorry.
No problem. I am going to pull up a copy of the draft resolution. Again, this is for, yes, Rick?
I'm sorry. Before you go into the draft resolution, again, for the record, I wanted to note that it's a secret type 2 action. With respect to the general municipal law 239M referral to the Ulster County Planning Board, it's exempt provided, and again, this is a non-attorney review, so as we noted in our memo, we didn't check whether or not these 4 things were applicable, but provided that it meets the following 4 items, then it's exempt. If not, you actually have to refer to the Ulster County Planning Board. So the first one, is there any increase in parking not required by the Village of New Paltz Code? In other
Are we
words, you don't
covering
have to,
45 Elting, Rick?
excuse me?
Are we doing 45 Elting right now?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So the question is, from the parking they have now, are they required to increase it because of requirements in the code?
And I think that we heard from Corey last week. He had said, we had discussed, or 2 weeks ago, apologies, that they weren't increasing the number of bedrooms. So they were not required to increase the number of parking spots.
Do you have a sketch plan or something that shows how many parking spots there are, or no?
Yeah, we asked Alan at the last, 2 weeks ago, like Raquel was saying, and he confirmed that there wasn't going to be any. Does it indicate that on the plans? You're muted, Alan.
There's a site plan that shows 2 existing parking spaces to remain.
Okay. And it has access to a state or county road through some other roads, right?
Correct.
And there's no disturbance of 1 acre or more,
That's correct.
no new structure in the 100-year floodplain.
That's correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to go through those so it was very clear for the record that there was no referral required to the Ulster County Planning Board. So now, Raquel, you can go forward with the review of the resolution.
Okay, so actually, if I'm following the agenda, I think the first one was actually PB 2004, so that was 56 Main Street. So
Yes, but
was,
it's okay. We could just
Okay.
switch in the
we'll
minute.
just switch them now since we discussed all that. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry.
Switch back 1 second. So I will review the draft resolution. 1 moment. All right, so whereas on or about June 30th, that you guys applied, or Allen Ross Architecture LLC applied for plan approval for PB, sorry, this document is a little bit warped on my computer, 45 Elting. Whereas the proposed project is located in the R2 zoning district and requires plan approval, and whereas the applicant submitted a short environmental assessment form dated June 30th, 2020. Sorry, there's a fly in my face. Whereas on July 21st, 2020, the planning board determined that the application was administratively complete, and whereas it was determined that a referral to the Ulster County Planning Board pursuant to section 239M of the general municipal law was not required, and whereas on July 21st, 2020, the planning board classified the action as a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas a duly noted public hearing on the application was held today, August 4th, via remote live stream. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Village of New Paltz Planning Board that the proposed site plan approval for 45 Elding to make renovations to a residential home as shown on the site plan dated June 30th, 2020 is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. 1, the village's right to enter upon the property for purpose of inspecting, and 2, payment of all fees and final site plan, as submitted. Can I take a vote now? So let me see. Noel?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Cody? He looks like he means to say. I'm just kidding.
I think he froze.
I know. Dennis?
Aye.
That's sufficient, Alana, right?
Yeah, I mean, Cody, you can type in the chat "I" if you're frozen, if that works better. I think Raquel too. Did you make a motion to approve?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So that is my motion to approve the draft resolution. Do I have to go through again?
No, you just move to approve, and then we'll just take a second. And
Okay. So move to approve the draft resolution. And that was Noel, sorry.
Noel, you second.
Second.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have to go through again? I'm sorry, Alana. So Zach,
Aye.
Cody,
Aye.
and Dennis one more time.
Aye.
All right, thank you guys so much. I think that Alan, you should be done. Alana will send it over to me for signature, and then we'll get it back to you guys. All right.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Alan. All right, so now we will move back to the other application. Let me just pull that one up. So this was PB 2004, 56 Main Street. This was, again, for the change of use from retail to specialty grocery / cafe. I don't think, let's see. So whereas the proposed project is located in the B2 zoning district and requires site plan approval, and whereas the applicant submitted a short environmental assessment form dated June 15, 2020, whereas on July 7th, 2020, the planning board determined that the application was administratively complete. And whereas it was determined that a referral to the Ulster County Planning Board pursuant to section 239M of the general municipal law is not required. And whereas on July 7, 2020, the planning board classified the action as a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas a duly noticed public hearing on the application was held today on August 4th, 2020 via remote live stream. Now, therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Village of New Paltz Planning Board that the proposed site plan / change of use approval for 56 Main Street to convert a commercial / retail use to a grocery cafe use as shown on the site plan dated June 15, 2020 is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. 1, the village's right to enter upon the property for purpose of inspecting, and 2, payment of all fees and final site plan as submitted. So I'm in a motion to approve this draft resolution. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Noel. Zach?
Aye.
Cody, if you're there.
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
All right, great. So Frank, I think you are still here. We'll go ahead and get this signed, and Alana will get it over to you guys as well. Thank you so much. And let me get back to the agenda. So I think the third item on the agenda for an application review is a new application. This is the site plan for new commercial construction. This is PB 2007. The applicant is the Lalo Group, and this is for the site known as the Pit on Plattical and Hasbrook Avenue. Rick, I'm going to defer to you if you don't mind for this, because I kind of want to understand, you know, obviously we have the documents that were supplied to us, but I want to understand if you could kind of lay out the framework of where we are in this process. I know that we need to declare a lead agency. There's a lot of steps that have to take place for this application. It's a big endeavor. So if you could just kind of take over for a minute, that'd be great.
Sure, happy to do so. So typically when you get a new project like this, one of the first thing happens is that you will be given the applicant an opportunity to go ahead and present it, you know, describe what it is, what they're asking for. If anybody has any questions during that time, then obviously chime in, but you give them an opportunity to go ahead and do that. With respect to seeker, which is always one of the things that you consider right off the bat, is that They did not submit a long form, environmental assessment form, and they need to do so. This is a type 1 action seeker, and therefore a full form is required. So you can't really take any further seeker steps, such as having a notice of intention to be lead agency and circulate that, because you need to circulate it with the full EAF Part 1 that they need to submit. So we can type the action as a type 1 action. You can make that motion. But other than that, we have to wait until they submit the long form EAF. And the reason it's a type 1 action is that it's substantially contiguous to historic district and also exceeds 25% of one of the thresholds of a type 1 action, which is the parking. Under the type 1 action, there's 500 parking spaces, would make it a type 1 alone. But if you have both substantially contiguous and 25% of that number, and they have 363, which obviously exceeds that. So they meet the thresholds necessary for this to be a type 1 action. So at the next meeting, if they have submitted a full EAF, the board can take the next seeker steps, and then we can move on from there. So there's really nothing you can do at this point in time, I think, at this meeting, other than listen to the applicant, hear them explain the project, and the planning board ask any questions that they want to ask. We'll have opportunity for your engineer to weigh in, and I may weigh in as well. And then we'll move on from there.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to classify this as a type 1 under type 1 secra. Can I get a second?
Second.
Noel?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
Cody?
Aye.
Perfect. I think that's all of us. Now, if anyone from the Lala group would like to walk us through sort of your application, be happy to hear.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is John Capello. I'm an attorney with Jacobowitz and Gubitz. Hi, Rick. How you doing?
Hello,
Nice to
John.
meet you all. Hope you're all staying safe and surviving not only a pandemic, but we had a hurricane thrown into boot. So we're happy to be here tonight, and we're happy to finally be in front of the board to present a project that has been kicking around in several different forms now for probably 2 to 3 years. So we're excited to present it. As mentioned, this project is on property that's known as the Pit on Hasbrook and Etling Avenue. It's a 2.4 acre parcel. What we're proposing on there are 3 buildings. One will be a 50-room hotel, and that's down from the original plan of 96. It will be a boutique upscale hotel that we believe will has a clientele for people coming to visit New Paltz, for the college, for the office use that we'll discuss in a second, that will have people coming in that will be looking for hotel rooms, and also for people who just want to enjoy the New Paltz area. It'd be a great place to come to stay for a weekend or have an event, to be able to be in the community. And unlike other places where people come here in New Paltz, this will be a place where when people do finish their day of hiking or rock climbing or enjoying the area, they will be able to walk to establishments and, patronize the establishments of the village of New Paltz. So we think it will have a great symbiotic relationship with the rest of the village. Will be another building there, but we'll have a catering hall and spa associated with the hotel use to serve the residents of the hotel and the community. And then the third building will be a 3-story building with a footprint of a little over 13,000 square feet that will have 3 stories. The first story will be general retail uses. The second and third story will be office spaces, as I understand now, and I see Luis has joined us. Luis is with the Lalo Group and the principal and developer here. will be that a local tech corporation that is looking to expand, that already exists in the village of New Paltz, is right now slated to take that office space. So it will allow that company to expand, to provide good paying jobs for people who hopefully will move and live in the village of New Paltz area. So that would be the third building. This is scaled down significantly from different variations that had a much larger hotel and also some permanent residential uses. There was talk about adding additional parcels to it, but where we are now is a plan that meets the zoning code as it's currently written, that will not require any variances, we believe. That's been reviewed conceptually by your attorney's office and the code enforcement office. So we're really looking to begin the process. We do understand we have to do a full environmental assessment form that's underway and should be in your offices, if not tomorrow, by the end of the week. And hopefully then we can officially start the process by seeking input and circulating lead agency, seeking input from other involved agencies and starting to get the community involved. So our main purpose here today is to introduce the project. And I have Justin Dates from Mazer Consulting, who's the engineering consultant on the project. Jason Anderson from Anderson Group, who's the architect who's designed the project. And as I mentioned earlier, Luis, who is the principal and a longtime New Paltz resident, who is the developer here. So I'm going to start off by introducing Justin, who will go through the site plan and some of the history. Then Jason will present conceptual architectural plans, and Luis can add whatever he feels like he would like to add in. And then hopefully we can get we know it's a big project, so we're not expecting all your detailed comments, but what any initial reaction you have, we certainly would welcome it and look forward to working with the board as we go through the process. So with that, I'll
John, if I could just have a preliminary
Sure.
question.
Yep.
Are you aware of any variances that you will need?
No, we don't believe we do. We actually, Ashley Torres from your office, when had given us a letter back in May 2018 on the number of units. My position was it was 54 units. Ashley was that it was 50 was permitted and a commercial group. So I believe we meet all the height requirements and the parking requirements. And I didn't mention that there will be a parking garage here that will have 363 spaces together. So
That's underground, right?
yes. So off the top of my head, I'm not aware of any that we need.
Okay.
So now I'll turn it over to Justin.
Good evening, everyone. Justin Dates, Mazer Consulting. Alana, do you want me to share my screen and I can show the plan so I can just kind of point out where the...
Yeah, I believe you can just, I have one participant can share at a time, so you should be able to just do it. There we go.
Did
Yeah.
everyone see that? Okay. So as John mentioned, the parcel is about 2.4 acres in size and in the B2 zoning district for the village. Just to orient, north is to the right of the page. So we have Plattekill Avenue on the very top. This to the east would be where the village's offices are, where we would typically be presenting a meeting like this. But then Hasbrook is down on the south end. We have frontage all along there. And then Elting is on the west. So I'll start from the south and move north. Building number one is, as John mentioned, is our hotel building, which is in this area here. The 3 stories, 50 rooms. There's a through road from Plattekill to Hasbrook that we proposed. That would serve us as access to the facilities. It would have a direct drive into our parking garage. As just the last piece mentioned there, we do have the two-story really underground parking garage. So all the proposed parking for the project, there's no open surface parking. It's all within garage. It's all enclosed, and that would include the loading facilities for the uses as well.
Justin,
Yes, sir.
that through drive that you mentioned, that's going to be all continue to be private property. That's not going to be dedicated to the village, correct?
Right now, it is it's a private drive through there.
Okay.
Yep. So building 1 was our hotel. Building 2, that's where John had mentioned about the banquet hall, cafe, the restaurant, spa, those services in conjunction with the hotel. And they're connected by a central, foyer and an atrium, I believe, in that area, in that center between the two buildings. Going north, again, the building 3 is here, and that has, first floor would be retail space, and then the second and third floor above that would be a professional office. There's a series of walkways that go around the site, for pedestrians. There's various green spaces. The hotel has a pool. There's an outdoor patio or gathering area on the main level. There's third floor decks that would be kind of associated with where the restaurant may be. And there's also some green roofs and things of that nature associated with the building. The architect, Jason Anderson, will go through some more of the details on that, but just to point out some of the areas on the plan here. The other point of access, it was down on Hasbrook, down the west side of Hasbrook here. That would enter the lower level of the garage. Once into the garage, you can get to both levels. Circulation will be permitted within to go between both levels, and also exit through this drive to Hasbrook as well. So I mentioned the B2 zoning district. The plan does detail how met the bulk requirements on that. The hotel use is a special use, while the professional office and the core business retail are principal permitted uses in the B2. The parking garage we have is 363 spaces. By code and the breakdown of the uses, we've required 322. So we meet and exceed the need for parking for our facilities here. Something, it's intimately known as the pit, the property, and one of the reasons is that from the grade up in the parking lot by the village hall there to the center of the property, there's about a 25-foot grade difference there, and that really plays into how the site's been designed with the parking garage underneath and the uses on top of that. So we're really trying to work with existing topography, fit the building and the facilities to that existing site, and we look forward to hearing what you'd have to say. And I think I could turn over to Jason Anderson, the project architect, so he can give you a little more detail on the facilities.
Great, thanks, Justin. So Jason Anderson here, architect with Anderson Design Group. I'm just going to share my screen. I think though, basically will be similar to what Justin shared, but we'll take a look at just a color version. So hopefully everybody sees it here. So this is sort of flipped from what Justin was showing there. So Elting is down here at the bottom of the page now, and here's our through road So we've got Hasbrook on the right. So Justin hit most of the points, but just wanted to sort of reiterate, I mean, thinking back, not sure how many had been to a number of the public meetings that we had been through that Luis had hosted at various venues. So we got a lot of feedback from the community. And as a result, we really redesigned the entire project. So today we're not going to show any elevations or anything because really this is us coming here for the first time, showing this new redesigned project that is scaled back, changes access to the site, and really addresses a lot of the comments that we received, but also just the fact of what were the positive things, how do we keep those, and integrate those into the project. So a few of the things, just to reiterate what Justin said, one of the key elements was that instead of accessing our parking garage from the municipal lot over here, we have now changed that to where all of our access is through this private drive that we have, and then we enter into our two-story parking garage. Or instead of directly off of Hasbrook, we're actually coming into this area where we basically pull the building away from our property line. And now we've got an area where everything comes into our parking garage from within the site itself, including all deliveries and trucks that are delivering food and things like that. That will all happen within the parking garage. A few of the things that we kept were the green roofs that we've been designing on top of the parking garage. So you'll see these, they're all in this area. A few areas, actually the building we're anticipating being stepped with multiple green roofs, as well as around other areas on top of the parking garage. We also created a plaza here, a public plaza that serves the retail. So we're anticipating this first floor will have quite a bit of open air plaza space, and that leads directly into a walkway that surrounds the project and connects and steps down back over towards the park. So that was one of the other components there that we tried to keep, which everybody seemed to appreciate. One of the things, of course, previously we showed what we thought the architecture would be. Again, we don't have that developed yet. Our anticipation, what we're going to be proposing, is something that complements the community, fits within the architecture of the community, and also scales the project down to where we're now 3 stories. If you were to look from any of these, this vantage point here, we're basically 3 stories or below as part of these buildings here. So those are some of the highlights. Everybody else, I think, has touched on the adjustment from residential to retail, as well as the scale of the rooms, or the hotel from 96 rooms to 50 rooms. So I think all of that together, we tried to take all of those comments and now be able to utilize the site in a more reduced fashion, but that still meets the needs of the client. So I think that's what I've got for that question.
Luis, I can see, did you want to add anything before we ask the board for your comments?
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Hello, hi, I'm Luis Martinez, principal of Lalo Group and a longtime resident in Newport. I think my team, they point all of the most important points that we have on the project. So we are here to hear what you guys have to say about the project and what are your comments on this first meeting.
Yeah, so I'll take it away. First of all, thank you guys so much for this presentation. Obviously, this is something that we've known is coming down the pipe for a while, and we were kind of nervous because it's a lot to absorb. But it sounds like I joined the board maybe 8 months ago, so I missed kind of the first wave, I guess, of 2 years ago. So just to hear that there have previously been public meetings where you've taken in the feedback of local residents, it makes me happy to hear, because honestly, that's probably my largest concern when this project eventually gets to the public hearing portion. So I'm happy to hear that. I'm just curious, because I'm unfortunately, when we're in these Zoom ones, I don't have like the physical plans in front of me. Are the buildings connected at all, or it looks like building 3 is standalone? Is that correct? Okay.
Correct. Building 3 here is standalone, but these are all connected. This really acts as one building. The central purple area here, that's like a hotel lobby picture. So if you go to the right, it's the amenities of the hotel. You go to the left, it's the hotel. That's pretty much it. But they're all connected from below with the parking garage. That's all one.
And then my other question would be, I know you talked about having a potential tenant for for one of the buildings. What, in an ideal world, this goes as smooth as possible. What kind of timeline are you looking at in terms of construction? Like 3 to 4 years? Where's your head at, I guess, ideally? Because I know things don't always go as we plan.
Yeah, well, I'll turn it over to Luis in a second, but after this year, I'm hesitant in making any predictions on anything beyond tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But we understand this is a big project, for the village, and we want to work with the village, but and it's on us to get you the information that you need. But we believe we've listened, we've scaled it to a extent that meets the code and is something that is a scale that the village could accept. So I think we're anxious to go as quick as possible, and however quick I say, Luis is probably going to say quicker. So I'm going to turn it over to him on the actualities of it.
So, like John said, as quick as possible. So from breaking ground, your question is, what will be the duration of construction?
Yeah.
Okay, so from breaking ground, it won't see more than 2 years.
Okay.
So anywhere from, I'll say, 18 months to 24 months.
Okay.
And this is something that I do every day in the city, so it will be a lot different than in the city.
Okay. Do any other board members have questions right now?
Well, I just, it's falls in the category of net zero. And I think it took about 2.5 years for that to finally get approval before Dave could break down. Are you aware of this process, and you're going to go full steam ahead with trying to provide the planning board and other agencies with everything they need to get this done as quickly as possible?
I can say I've had 33 years of participating in the process, and this is the majority of what I do. And I've represented the town of New Paltz Planning Board for the first 15 or so years of my career. And I've also represented the village of New Paltz Planning Board for a time. So, I am aware, and Luis, I believe, is constructing the net zero building. So, we're aware, of the history, and we're hoping we can do a little better than net zero, but we understand it's in our court to get you the information that you need to be able to make those determinations. So, I don't want to, count the chickens before they're hatched. So, but we do understand the process, and we will endeavor to do the best that we can to answer your questions in as, responsible and quick a time frame as we can.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments at this time? Alana, Zach, Cody?
Yes, I had a few questions actually. So in terms of public space, I see there's the open space in front of the retail building. And then is the only other public space the narrow walkway that kind of circumnavigates the whole project and then connects to Hasbrook Road?
Yeah, so originally we had quite a bit more public space. We had outdoor gardens and such, but that all had to be scaled back when we brought the building down. So there really is what you said, it's the plaza as you walk through, and then there is a connection that gets you around through. But other than that, in order to scale the building height down, we had to spread the buildings out, and then that is what's left, correct?
And there is access from that walkway to Hasbrook Road?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And the other question I had was regarding that private drive. I was under the impression that that was actually a road on some New Paltz maps, Vanderlyn Road, a paper road. Were there any discussions or considerations of turning that into an actual public street with the Village of New Paltz?
I don't know if there were any discussions. We did provide the alternatives, and as we go through the process, if the village expresses an interest, we certainly would be open to that possibility. It's 6 of one, half dozen of another. People will be able to use the private road. It's does the village want to maintain it or not. So, I mean, that is certainly something as we go through the process that we're open to discussing with the village board and with the planning board.
Understood. Those are the questions I had right now.
All right, thank you, Zach. Noel or Cody, anything?
For me.
I think it's a lot of information, obviously, for us to process. I'm sure that the next time we talk, I will have a list of like, why didn't I think of that last time? But, I'd love to, I do want to drive by again tomorrow just to kind of conceptualize this physically, which I'm excited to do. Again, I thank you for walking us through this. Rick, I think you started off by explaining what will happen between now and our next meeting. But if you could just reiterate that, that would be helpful to my small.
Sure, I'll do that. But I also want to go through some of the comments that I have
Okay.
that I provided, not to the applicant, but to the planning board members. They're somewhat extensive. So, John, I can actually send these to you. But let me go through them right now and just make some other comments. The applicant is going to be requiring a site plan approval and also a special use permit for the hotel. It will require referral to the Ulster County Planning Board, but we cannot do that at this time. We should first get the full environmental assessment form, part 1. We would then refer it to the Ulster County Planning Board, really for information purposes, because it's not a formal referral until we have enough information ready to make a determination of significance, which we don't have yet. But I think it would be helpful if we made sort of a pre-referral transfer of this information to the Ulster County Planning Board so they can come in with any comments that they might have that would help inform the planning board. A public hearing will be required. And on our first review of this, and when I say our, I'm speaking in the royal hour, it was really Ashley who put this together. All credit goes to her. If there's anything wrong here, I'll take blame for whatever it is. Let me go over each one of these. It appears that the site plan indicates that all 3 buildings are 3 stories in height. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There seems to be some confusion on the plans with respect to how tall they were going to be, as well as the circulation. So I think that needs to be clarified, and additional labeling needs to be done. Obviously, the orientation between the plan and the rendering are flipped, so it'd be helpful to the board if they were in the same orientation. There is some square footage noted, but it's not consistent as far as really each of the buildings should have square footage notice, as well as each of the floors of each building should have the square footage noted. Building number 2, doesn't identify what's going to be on the second floor, right? Just says banquet hall, cafe, restaurant, spa. I assume that that was on the first floor unless this is going to be split somehow between the floors. So
It will be
however
split
that
between
is,
the floors, yeah.
okay. So if you could note which is going to be on the first floor, which is going to be on the second floor, so that there's more detail for the board to understand the concept. The site plan indicates that there are generally 280 seats for the combined restaurant, cafe, and banquet hall. And you should provide a breakdown of how many seats are allocated for each use. So there aren't any, also with respect to parking, there's no specific parking guidelines for health clubs and spas. So you may want to get Corey's input on this. So there are some things that might come close to it, barbershops, beauty parlors, et cetera. They have so many spaces devoted to the service, but you really need to tie that down with Corey as to the parking requirements to make sure that you're compliant with that. Now, building 3 is retail and office. And the question is going to arise whether this is a commercial group under the code, because then potentially another special use permit may be required. And there are also issues about combined minimum lot areas, et cetera. You may want to look at Village Code Section 212-5B and 212-4L1 along these lines. And just make sure that all of your calculations, when you're talking about hotels and commercial groups and other commercial uses, are all set forth in accordance with those provisions. And whether or not building 3 is a commercial group, it looks like the minimum lot area calculation is incorrect. The requirement of 2,500 square feet for all commercial uses requires the applicant to have 2,500 square feet for each of the separate commercial uses in building 2 for a total of 10,000 square feet. But if building 3 is not a commercial group, it will require another 2,500 square feet for the office use and 2,500 square feet for retail uses. Again, I think it's appropriate if you speak to Corey about these to make sure that we're not going down a long way. And then at the end, these things come up and now the plan has to be revised. And a lot of time has been wasted on both sides of the table.
We would do that. Rick, can I just add that we did, back in May 2018, there was a analysis done, and I apologize that, we need to coordinate and make sure the letter's addressed, and we will, but that this was a commercial group and that the hotel at 50, and then there was an acre for the commercial group, but there was an analysis, so we'll incorporate that in.
That was before Corey, correct? That was the building inspector before Corey?
It was actually, the letter was from, actually, no, because Corey did sign a letter because there was that weird provision in the language of commercial group that said retail commercial office or something, and there was an or that it said of.
Right.
Of or, and then I know Corey signed that.
I know Corey decided that one, but I didn't know if you,
and I think it was right around the same time. So I would, unless he took, the letter from Ashley was in May 2018, and Corey's letter was undated, but I think it was
I think
August.
given it's really a revised plan. So I think it'd be helpful to the planning board if you sat down with Corey and or however Corey wants to do it. But I think the planning board certainly needs Corey's analysis on a number of zoning issues that really are critical to the plan.
Will do.
Okay. And I have nothing else. I don't know if Dennis Larios, the planning board engineer, has anything. Is he on?
No, I don't think he's here.
Okay.
His whole thing was in the email. He just kind of concurred with your comments.
On the seeker, yeah, but I didn't know if he had any engineering comments, but
Yeah,
I
I
guess
didn't get
not.
anything else from him.
Okay. All right, well, that's all I have. I don't think, now getting back to Raquel's question, was as far as what happens now is that I think that we asked the applicant to submit a full EAF Part 1, which they have said they are going to do. And there's really nothing we can do until we get that. At the next time that this is on the agenda, provided we have the full EAF Part 1, we can go ahead and continue with the seeker process. Note the planning board's intention to be lead agency. John or Justin, what other involved agencies might there be? Do you know?
The village board will have to, accept if they want the road. I mean, there may be some involvement from them.
That's not a part of your plan right now, right?
No, but I would include them just to be safe from the get-go. There'll be bonding and everything. Sewer, water connections, which actually is the village board will have to
Okay.
authorize those. And I'm not sure the DEC or health department.
I was going to say the DEC and the health department, I would anticipate.
In Ulster County.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so DEC, Health Department. All right, you'll have all that in the
Yeah.
EAF anyway. Okay, so Raquel, and the rest of the board, what will happen is that at the next meeting, provided we have the full EAF and it's acceptable to you, is that the board will note its intention to be lead agency and circulate that to all the involved agencies, which would be the DEC, Health Department, Village Board, and anybody else that's recognized by then as an involved agency. That is a governmental agency that has some type of approval power over the project. And then that's really all you can do under seeker for the time being. You have to wait 30 days and to make sure that you don't get any objections to you assuming lead agency, but in likely event that you will not get any objections at whether it's the next meeting or a few meetings after that, after the 30 days has passed, the planning board can assume lead agency for seeker. And at that point in time, the board needs to have an EAF Part 2 prepared, and that will be up to the planning board whether they want our firm to look at it or they want Dennis Larios to prepare the EAF Part 2. And once that EAF Part 2 is done, then the board can determine whether or not there's at least one significant adverse environmental impact. And if there is, then you have to make a decision whether to go ahead and require an environmental impact statement or hold off on that decision and identify what those impacts are and allow the applicant an opportunity to provide other studies or provide changes in the plans to try to mitigate those. What's known, and I've advised the board in the past, but it may be good for me to have another training session with the newer members, would be an expanded Part 3. So that whole process is going to take some time, several months of meetings with respect to the seeker aspect of this. At the same time, the planning board should be looking at the site plan to see whether or not it likes it, whether or not it thinks that this is a good plan with respect to access, circulation, and anything other issues that you may want to bring up for a site plan, landscaping, visual impacts, etc. So right now it's sort of on hold, and then we start to incrementally make these bigger and bigger decisions as we go on, Raquel.
Thank you so much for walking us through that. I appreciate it. And again, all of you, I appreciate you taking us through this presentation. Obviously, it sounds like we have kind of a long road ahead of us together, but I look forward to kind of moving this project along as we can. So we look forward to seeing you guys again.
I want to thank you all and let you know we will not only get the EAF in, we will, if you share Mr. Golden's letter with us, we will endeavor to meet with the building inspector and also respond to all the questions and make whatever revisions necessary so we can get that process moving. And the last thing I wanted to offer, I know Ms. Carrion, I get mentioned potentially doing a site walk. If the board, after consultation with the attorney, I don't know if you wanted to do it as a board or group two, but we would certainly be willing, if Alana has all our email information, if the board members wanted a tour, with the consultants, or however you'd like to arrange that, we would certainly, be more than willing to have that and have the map and kind of orient you to where the uses are proposed whenever you think timing is right for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And a site plan, I think, would be very, very helpful for the board. And I would only ask the applicant, if prior to that site plan, that you at least stake out the corners of the buildings so that when they're out there, they can more easily orient themselves to the surrounding area, knowing where the corners of the three buildings are.
So yeah, I think that concludes us for this review of this application, at least for tonight.
Well, could I just add
Dennis,
something
I'm
to what, Richard, John, I think the walkthrough of the site is very important, and I appreciate you guys offering it. Along with what Richard said about, Rick said about staking off the boundaries, that's important. When we did net zero development, we also had them make a pole to indicate the height of the buildings, so that we could compare it to the surrounding structures. And I would also be very interested in seeing your elevations.
Okay.
And thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we'll see you guys, I'm sure, sometime soon. Also, I apologize in advance because I know myself, and the next time I'm going to have more questions that I just couldn't think of right now.
Well, like I said, Alana has all our emails. So
okay, perfect.
Stuff that you want to submit, we'd be happy to.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Louise.
Communication open.
Justin, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you. So I guess we'll move us to our administrative business. Alana, is that correct?
Yeah, we're just approving the minutes.
Yeah, I think.
And I don't think Bill Murray or Don are here, so I think that's it.
Sorry, I have this fly that keeps going by me. All right, so I don't know if you guys had a chance, but I'm going to move to approve the meeting minutes for July 21st, 2020. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dennis. Noel?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
I think we lost Cody, so that's it. I don't see anybody else in here other than us, so I guess I will move to close the meeting August 4th, 2020 of the planning board. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thanks, Dennis. Noel?
Aye.
Zach?
Aye.
All right, that closes us out. So, Alana, I don't know if you want to press pause or stop.
Yeah, we're all good. Hold on, I'll stop the recording.
Okay, cool.
Let me just reiterate, again, we